Good evening to all of you faithful viewers of Equinoxe Television. We thank you as usual for always being with us in the news. We begin with our major stories tonight. Several workers of a shoe manufacturing company in Bonaberry have gone on a rampage today. They blocked the entrance into the company, shouting at the top of their voices for their problems to be resolved. Most of the workers are internally displaced people from the northwest and southwest regions. They are complaining that they work for 12 hours and have break just for 30 minutes. And the media family in the Littoral region, Equinoxe especially, is mourning the sudden demise of one of our correspondents in the Mongo division, Jacquino Malone. Equinoxe Television especially is mourning the correspondent in the Mongo division. Jacquino Malone, I told, died yesterday in a fatal road accident. His media and biological family are still to come out of that shock. Viewers, those are our major stories. Stay with us for details and more. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for being with us. We told you in the headlines that workers of a shoe manufacturing company in Bonaberry here in Douala today went on a rampage. They are decrying poor working conditions and low salaries. They complain of working for 12 hours with just 30 minutes for break. Mala Glory says today they blocked the entrance into the company and insist that their voices must be heard and their problems be resolved.
Assembled outside your workplace in Bonaberry, putting every activity for the day on hold, yelling so their cry can be heard. They are employees of a private company in Douala 4 subdivision on strike. They complain they work for long hours with very little pay, a situation which has deteriorated with the economic hardship of the country. Most of these workers are internally displaced persons from the southwest region.
We are working 12 hours. Me as a permanent worker, I'm working 12 hours, but they are paying me but 8 hours. So I don't know where they are keeping the other 4 hours. They are forcing me to come to work on Saturday. But if I don't come work on Saturday, they'll cut me more than 3,000 francs. We are even working with no contract.
The workers also decry poor working conditions of the company, such as poor sanitary condition of the toilets and doubtful water quality, a situation which exposes the health of the workers to several diseases.
Even the working condition is very poor. If you go inside and see even the toilet is very poor. The water people are drinking, very poor working condition. We are standing up for 12 hours. They don't allow anybody to sit down. They don't even allow telephones.
The workers of this company that is specialized in the production of shoes says they have been promised a salary increment 2 years ago, but nothing has been done despite the government decision to increase minimum wage in Cameroon. This is coming 3 days after workers in Cameroon observed the International Labour Day, demanding a safe and healthy environment. These employees, just like every other worker elsewhere in Cameroon, call for better working conditions and a better pay.
From the Douala 4, we take you to the Douala 5 area where some inhabitants of Makepe continue counting their losses after their shops were demolished by the local council. Those affected complain that they were never served any quick notice before the demolition exercise. They add that they are now stranded. Lucy Liengu Esia was there. She now tells us more.
Business persons who sell along the Conquered roundabout in Makepe, Douala 5, say they are disappointed. Their grievance, they say, is as a result of a demolition exercise carried out by agents of the Douala 5 Council. The demolition is a bitter pill for them to swallow because most of them invested everything they had in their various businesses. A day before yesterday, they were here around 2 p.m. just to tell us we should leave the site. According to them, the demolition exercise was to take place in the morning. I thought it was a joke because it's not up to a month. I invested about 4 million into this business. As you can see, That's the result.
Voilà le résultat de...
Surprising to them is the fact that the council embarked on demolition without notification.
Est-ce que c'est vraiment normal?
It is not normal that people wake up one morning just to see their shops being destroyed. At least a notice should be given. Just look at it. We are about 21 fathers, mothers, having children to feed, pay house rent. We are tired. We don't know where this government is driving us to. One of the traders, Yves Leblanc, says he has his legal documents but does not understand why his snack was destroyed. I had an authorization from the former mayor, Tone. I presented severally to the Douala 5 council. Never did they ask me to leave. But to my greatest shock, I'm left in an open air. Meantime, the head of the intervention unit of the Douala 5 council police says the action is to fight against urban disorder and make out space for the construction of modern toilets. A lot of complaints, attacks, insecurity. Some of these bad guys took advantage of everything to carry out their activities. He adds that a notice was given beforehand to the victims for them to relocate. No. They received a notice, just that Cameroonians are stubborn. They were alerted. The victims, about 21 in number, which the government compensates so that they can manage their daily activities.
And now to the northwest region of the country, the newly installed divisional officer from Kambe in the Donga Mantung division of the northwest has been called upon to resolve the frequent farmer-grazer conflicts in that area. The call was made during the installation ceremony, which took place recently in the town of Nkambe. Immaculate Fogwe reports.
The farmer-grazer problem that has been plaguing the town of Kambe in the Donga Mantung division, northwest region, was a major issue raised during the send-off ceremony of Gida Lawrence Chair, former divisional officer of Kambe. According to the mayor, Fon Musa Shea, the former DO was unable to resolve this issue.
The divisional officers are generally referred to as chef there, and the chair refers to the land. And one of the most boiling issues that the population of Kambe thinks that has not been very wonderfully handled has been the issue of land allocation, planting and uprooting of pillars. They also tell you. Within his stay as divisional officer from Kambe Central, the population has seen an increase in farmer-grazer conflict at a time and in a place where the population is purely agricultural.
While installing the new divisional officer, Mr. Buka, administrative authorities call on him to bring lasting solutions to the problems plaguing his area of command.
It is my duty to pray and wish that the incoming divisional officer should cultivate an improved approach in handling issues around land, especially in the relationship with our divisional authorities. And as much as the auxiliaries of the administration, we know them as the custodians of our culture and our tradition, and they deserve to have that relationship with the administration.
Before his appointment as divisional officer for Kambe, Mr. Buka served as head of economic, social and cultural affairs at the North Regional Governor's Office in Garua. Meantime, the outgoing DO Gida Lawrence moves to Bengui, headquarters of the Momo Division, still in the Northwest region, in the same capacity.
In other news, today has been commemorated as the International Day for Firefighters. The role of a firefighter in today's society is one of dedication, commitment and sacrifice. Firefighters or rescue soldiers dedicate their lives to the protection of life and property. On this International Firefighters Day, we take a look at the challenges of their duties with Babila Jonathan.
Rescue soldiers in Douala brave numerous challenges in the discharge of their duties. Those of the 20th Army Rescue Battalion often cover long distances across a wide surface area at all times of the day.
A lack of fire hydrant. We have an inaccessibility of some quarter. We have also a recurrent breakdown of fire truck, of our materials. This difficulty is because of bad road, because of restriction also of road. The road are not enough large to permit our fire truck also to use this road. Incivility of population shown by the user of road and poor construction of houses.
Their operations are often adversely affected by those challenges.
The city of Douala have now 2 fire stations. To have a normal coverage of protection of civilians in Douala, we need about 9 fire stations. So the percentage of coverage is not more than 10% now. That affects intervention.
Another problem has to do with false alarm. At the headquarters of the 20th Army Rescue Battalion, we are told that the call center receives hundreds of calls from persons who by mistake or intentionally want to mislead or deceive rescue teams daily.
And now to the Central Region. Inhabitants of the Obam neighborhood of the Yaoundé 3 subdivision say they want nothing less than the departure of a waste disposal company which has been a nightmare since its installation in their neighborhood. They say the company's activities have had devastating impact on their health and also on their economic activities. For me, I'm Transanda tells us more.
Calm is gradually returning to the Atangana's family in Yaoundé after the tension created by this accident. The daughter, who was surprised while asleep by this truck, has been successfully operated upon, according to Mr. Atangana Cosmos. Cosmos Atangana says his daughter was rushed to the hospital in Efolan, where she was operated upon by a specialist on the bill of the company in charge of waste disposal. However, on these parts of the Obam neighborhood of the Yaoundé 3 municipality, the main problem remains. Local inhabitants say they are fed up living with abandoned waste and the pungent smell. They say that the psychological impact is even worse given the fact that the waste is being abandoned amid a cholera outbreak in Yaoundé.
Les gros poissons ne peuvent pas manger les petits poissons.
Regardez un peu, il y a les mouches. Ignace Bekono, an inhabitant of Obam, wonders how they are expected to fight against cholera with flies and maggots infested waste dumped at their doorsteps.
Pour laquelle la société comprenne qu'il y a plus à faire qu'à faire le bras de fer.
The local inhabitants say petty businesses like restaurant services have been paralyzed as customers run away from flies, maggots and the odor.
On ne parle plus parce que quand tu pars là-bas dans un restaurant, c'est les mouches qui t'accueillent.
Frustrated by what they qualify as a compromising silence of administrative and municipal authorities, inhabitants blocked the main truck entryway into the waste disposal site.
Le représentant des riverains est allé voir le maire qui a coté le dossier à la dame de l'environnement, à une dame. On a interpellé le monsieur qui a la société et on l'a sommé de partir. Jusqu'ici, rien.
They say the move comes after a pacific procedure engaged with the Yaoundé City Mayor and the subdivisional delegates for environment and nature protection for the Yaoundé 3 subdivision failed to yield fruit. The locals say that they want nothing less than that the company should leave Obam and leave for good.
And now, viewers, we move on to this very heartbreaking element. The media family in the littoral we told you in the headlines, and Equinoxe in particular is still in shock following the sudden death of our correspondent in the Mongo division of the littoral region, Jacquino Malone. Jacques Malone died in a fatal road accident which occurred in Bangem in the Kupe Maninguba division of the southwest region. That was on World Press Freedom Day. What a day to die. Innocent Ase now comes back to that melancholic incident.
Jacquino Malone, Equinoxe Television's correspondent in Lum Mungo division of the Littoral region, was part of the convoy of the Southwest Regional Delegates of Basic Education on her maiden contact tour to Kupe Maningoba division. Jacquino Malone was on board a solicited Toyota Hilux vehicle belonging to the Southwest Development Authority, Soweto, with a journalist and cameraman of the state media alongside 4 other persons, including the deceased driver, Ewang Divine Etone. The convoy that left Buea and arrived at Bangem in the Kupe Maningoba division paid a courtesy visit to the senior divisional officer. They were received by the first assistant SDO. From there, the convoy took off to the Mwanenguba Twin Lakes, found some 9 kilometers from Bangem. After visiting the touristic Twin Lakes, the convoy took off for Bangem, where head teachers and pupils were waiting for the official ceremony. Unfortunately, at Mbat village, about 3 kilometers to Bangem, the Toyota Hilux vehicle with 7 passengers suffered brakes failure and overturned into a valley. The driver, Ewang Divine, died on the spot, while ETV's Jacquino Malone later gave up the ghost at the Bangem District Hospital. The rest of the victims were reanimated by a team of mobilized health personnel, headed by the director, Dr. Esambe Emmanuel. After about 2 hours at the hospital, the victims, together with other members of the entourage, were ferried to the Nkongsamba District Hospital, where 4 out of the 5 victims are recovering, while Nakeli Ernest, private secretary of the regional delegate, is undergoing scanning from severe injuries. Jacquino Malone's corpse was evacuated to the Lum District Hospital mortuary, while that of Ewang Divine was deposited at the Buea Regional Hospital morgue. Jacquino Malone, according to a funeral program already released by the family, will be laid to rest this Saturday, May 6th in Telezingtuo in Bacham West Region, after the corpse removal from the Lum District Hospital morgue on Friday, May 5. Rest in peace in the bosom of the Lord, Jacquino Malone.
At the Equinoxe headquarters, when we got the news of Jacquino Malone's accident, we kept on praying he could make it out of that difficult situation. But some minutes later, we got another information that Jacquino Malone died in that fatal road accident in Bangem. Let's now listen to some of the reactions.
It's really a bitter pill to swallow. Jacquino was not just a colleague, he was more than a colleague to me. Our relation was just so like this fatherly daughter figure. I can remember clearly, it's about a month ago when Jacquino came to Douala and we were together, we were discussing, and he was telling me, Immaculate, your job is your first husband. I remember someone who was so nice, someone who was so dedicated in his job. That's one good thing I remember about Jacquino. He was so dedicated. He loved his job. There are so many times when he sends his elements, I don't even need to call and ask what's happened, because he was the right, what we qualify as a square peg in a square hole, because he knew the right images to take. He knew what was making news. That means we have lost somebody who I think it's going to be really hard to get someone like Jacquino again, because he played his role adequately well. And one of the problems is he died on World Press Freedom Day. That's really something that really makes us really feel bad, knowing fully well Cameroonians journalists are calling for freedom of press. Dying on such a day, it's really painful.
In fact, sincerely speechless. Painful indeed, and it's very difficult to say rest in peace, Jacquino Malone. Viewers, that was what we put together for you on this edition of the news. Thank you so much for being with us.